some breaking news coming to us right now. President Donald Trump's former lawyer has been sentenced to 3 years in jail. Michael Cohen was facing charges of paying off 2 women over their alleged affairs with the U.S. president and for lying to Congress about a possible Trump business deal in Russia during the 2016 presidential election campaign. The 52-year-old pled guilty to both charges. Kimberly Halkett is live for us now from Washington. So, Kimberly, he's getting 3 years in jail. This is pretty much in line with what the recommended sentence was, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's in line, although there had been the potential that he could face up to 63 months in jail. Now it's looking more like 36, according to Judge William Pauley. In his sentencing, the judge saying that it was in his view that Michael Cohen, the former fixer and longtime lawyer for Donald Trump, that he had lost his moral compass. Now, as you point out, Michael Cohen has pled guilty, and that's why we were in the sentencing hearing today to considerable charges, including tax evasion, campaign finance violations, as well as misleading Congress. But Michael Cohen certainly went down swinging, and this is going to certainly make the White House nervous, given the fact that he admits that he took full responsibility for what he called the wrongdoing. He said, my duty was to cover up for his dirty deeds, referring to Donald Trump. He said that he was loyal to the president and he did these wrongdoings as a result of that loyalty. Donald Trump has called in the past Michael Cohen weak in a tweet, but Michael Cohen saying that his only weakness was his blind loyalty to Donald Trump. So certainly this is a man who fought back in the sentencing hearing. Going into it, there was a differing view of Michael Cohen because there were 2 different prosecutors that had worked with him. The one that worked with him with regard to the Russia probe and the Robert Mueller investigation, the special counsel, said that Michael Cohen had provided credible, valuable information, links between Donald Trump's presidential campaign and a foreign government. But it was in the Southern District of New York, that prosecutor, where in fact there was a very different picture of Michael Cohen portrayed, one that harmed national interests, hurt the free and transparent elections, and eroded faith in the electoral process. It seems that some of that argument seemed to resonate with Judge William Pauley when he handed down the sentence. 3 years in jail for Michael Cohen.
So just remind us, where does Michael Cohen fit into the bigger picture of President Trump and the ongoing investigation into alleged Russian meddling in the 2016 election?
Right. Well, Michael Cohen has known Donald Trump for years. He once said famously that he would take a bullet for the president. It was this blind loyalty, though, that in the end seemed to cost him. Essentially, what is a problem for Donald Trump in all of this and how he could implicate the president or has implicated the president is the fact that he, in fact, said that he acted in coordination or at the direction of Donald Trump when he paid off 2 women in violation of campaign finance. He says he did this to deliberately influence the 2016 U.S. election when he made these payments to 2 women with which Donald Trump is alleged to have had affairs, this so-called hush money, if you will. Well, campaign finance law says if you're trying to make a donation, you can only give up to $2,700, but this was $130,000 in one case. And so this makes it an illegal campaign donation. This is certainly going to be problematic, not just because he has Michael Cohen has said he acted at the direction of Donald Trump when he made those payments, Donald Trump denying he had any knowledge of those payments, but also we're hearing from the special counsel's lawyer in this sentencing hearing that Michael Cohen provided credible, valuable information regarding links between Donald Trump's presidential campaign and a foreign government, presumably part of the Russia probe, getting a lot of interest from the special counsel as he continues to look at possible connections between Russia and Donald Trump's presidential campaign.
And Kimberly, is there a sense that that there is more that Michael Cohen has here that he's holding back?
Certainly, that was intimated more than once in the sentencing hearing that we were watching very closely as notes were coming out of the courtroom. It seemed to, and this was one of the frustrations for the lawyer that was representing the federal court in the Southern District of New York City, or New York State rather, that Michael Cohen seemed to offer selective cooperation, is what the attorney said. That there were certainly moments where he showed signs of deception and greed, in contrast to Robert Mueller's attorney that argued Michael Cohen had, in fact, been very cooperative. So it appears that there was a sense that Michael Cohen was holding back some information, and perhaps that was reflected in the decision by the judge when he did hand down a rather stiff sentence, but not the full sentence as the sentence guidelines would have or could have allowed.
Kimberly, thanks very much. Kimberly Halkett live for us in Washington. Kristen Salumi is live outside the courthouse in New York where that sentence was handed down. So, Kristen, you were in there. Describe the scene there for us.
Well, it was a packed courthouse, packed outside the court as well. As you can see, lots of interest in this case, obviously implicating the president. We heard from Michael Cohen himself and begging for mercy from the judge for a more lenient sentence. And we heard him apologize to his family and to the American people for hiding the truth for them. He argued that he would become free today for the first time in years since accepting a job with a real estate mogul that he admired. He said he was motivated by blind loyalty and didn't listen to the voices inside of him. Rather, he did what he had to do to cover up. He listened to the darker instincts of his boss. But the judge, in the end, said that a strict sentence, that a deterrent effect would be necessary with this sentence, that they had to send a message because of the nature of these crimes. I can tell you also a little bit more about the issue of whether or not Michael Cohen was cooperating fully, which Kimberly was just talking about. Cohen's lawyers said that Michael Cohen has answered all questions and would continue to answer all questions. They took issue with the characterization that he had not been forthcoming or helpful. They said that he was unwilling to sign an unlimited cooperation agreement because that would mean unending questions and answers, and it was too difficult for his family. That said, the lawyer claimed that Michael Cohen was willing to continue answering questions and would continue answering questions of a specific nature. So all of that to say that it was a very emotional courtroom. Michael Cohen breaking down, addressing his family. He had several family members in the court there to support him. A lot of interest from the media and the public as well. But at the end, the judge decided that while he had committed what he called a virtual smorgasbord of criminal conduct, that he had been motivated by greed and ambition, that he did, in fact, need to be held accountable, and his sentence needed to serve as a deterrent for others who might commit similar offenses in the future. And so he ended up with this 36-month, 3-year prison sentence.
So where do things go for Michael Cohen in the near term as far as when he's expected to begin serving that sentence?
I believe he will begin today. He will be processed and treated like any other criminal moving forward at this point. Does not preclude future cooperation with the special counsel's investigation. Special counsel did testify in the court that he had been very helpful, very cooperative, that the testimony he gave was credible and went to the core issues of their investigation into whether or not Russia colluded in how Russia influenced the 2016 election. And they also said that Michael Cohen hadn't tried to elevate his claims. In other words, they found his testimony to be, once he decided to cooperate, to be very credible, and that he didn't overinflate what he knew or didn't know, but told them things that they could corroborate through other evidence and so on, and so that he was very valuable in that sense. So it is possible that he will be sought for more information going forward by Robert Mueller's team.
All right, Kristen Salumi live for us there in New York. Thanks, Kristen.